Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's December. We're finally doing normal content again, and I want to do something a little bit different this week. I don't have a really good crochet idea for the holiday season, so instead I'm gonna work on one of my holiday wintertime projects, and I'm going to tell you a holiday story. This video is just for anyone who, wants just to have some cozy crocheting time. You're welcome to go grab your own project, whether it's, crocheting, knitting. I'm knitting a hat right now. This is as far as I am. Or, if you're doing some sort of craft, if you have to do your nails, if you need to do any cleaning, packing, if you're in college and moving back home, or, maybe finals have rotted your brain and you just need some chill, cozy content. That's what this is. So if you have a project, now's the time to grab it, and I'm going to tell you a story. For anyone who's curious, this is my favorite way to make hats. I think it's just a garter stitch. This is as tall as the hat is, and then you just knit stitches until it can fit around your head. It's very warm, very stretchy. It's kind of my go-to way to make a hat whenever I want a really cozy hat. So I have no idea how many rows into it I am, and I've probably dropped stitches, but I don't care. So, just a heads up, I don't know how old my audience skews, but if you're younger, and Santa is bringing you presents this year, this story may make you sad, so please don't watch it. Go have a conversation with your parents first. This is one of my favorite stories to tell around the holiday season because it's really, really funny to me. This happened when I was about 9. I was in 3rd grade, I believe. And I, at the time, was in Catholic school. Now, I bring that up because, you're in Catholic school, you celebrate Christmas a little bit differently than you do in public school. And also, if you go to Catholic school, there are a lot of people who, their families have a lot of money, and they're a little big for their britches. So there's just a very specific, entitled environment there. And there were a lot of people who got away with stuff and were kind of genuinely jerks, but their parents gave money to the church, so they got away with it. My family was not one of those, and so we were just kind of constantly like, come on, about a lot of stuff that happened. So this story starts with this boy who was in my class. What should we call him? For the sake of this story, we're going to call him Fred. So Fred was kind of a jerk. I did not like Fred. Fred and I did not get along. He regularly picked on one of my close friends. And I had physically fought Fred on multiple occasions. So we were not buddies. And at some point in December, he told me that Santa Claus was not real. And it was just your parents picking out gifts for you, because you give your Christmas lists to your parents so they see what you want, and then they just say it's from Santa. Now, I went, that's absolutely not true, Fred. You're a jerk. But he had a point, which that's always the worst when they're, someone you don't respect and you don't want to listen to them, but you can't 100% say they're wrong. So I came up with a plan. I went home, I told my mom about what Fred had said, and I said, so, I'm going to seal my letter to Santa, and I'm going to drop it off. And you're not going to look at it. And if I get what I want for Christmas, then that is definitive proof that Santa is real. My mom told me, wow, that's a great plan, honey. Well, okay, write your letter and we'll take it up to the drop box. There is this little light show near where I live, and there's a box there that has letters to Santa, and that is where I would always drop my letters. So did not tell my parents what I wanted, wrote it down the letter, and folded it up, left it, went to school, dropped it off. Now, this is the important part of the story, is my mom's part, which I did not learn until several years later. I have a younger sister, so we kept things under wraps for quite some time before my mom felt comfortable telling me this story and knew I wouldn't immediately, like, tell my sister. Naturally, this whole plan freaked my mom out a bit. So she was desperately trying to figure out a way that she could get her hands on my letter without letting me know that she got her hands on my letter. So she called the Parks Department, I believe, because they were the ones in charge of the light show, and was like, hey, is there any way, like, if I mark the letter with my address, that you can send it back to me, or I can come pick it up? And they were like, lady, we get hundreds of those and we just throw them away. Like, what do you want us to do? Mom's like, great, that's a dead end. So she figured out there was no way she could get it after she dropped it off, so she had to look at it before I dropped it off. So again, I folded it up. It sat in my house for a couple of days maybe before we actually went up to the light show. So my mom took it and she steamed it open. Very, very carefully steamed it open. And she read what I wanted for Christmas. She closed it back up, and then she's looking at it like, and it looks very easily tampered with because it's been steamed open. So she's panicking and eventually just decides to toss it on the ground. My house at the time, I can't show you because it's a different house. It didn't have like an entryway, but basically you came in the front door and it was a living room. And we had this little dresser next to the door. We put our shoes underneath it, and then we put like our keys on top, and then in all the drawers were like winter hats and other, you know, things that you would have in an entryway of the house, things that you like take when you're going outside. I think there was like a bunch of loose change in one drawer. I don't know. We don't use it anymore. So we would put keys on top of it, and we would also put our mail. So that was where I had left my Santa letter, on this dresser. She took it off the dresser and basically tossed it on the ground where our shoes are and left it there. So whenever it was time for us to go to the light show, for me to drop off my letter, I couldn't find my letter. I was like, oh my God, where's my letter? I can't find it. And my mom was like, I don't know, maybe check to see if it fell off. So I'm on the ground scrabbling and I find it, and it's wrinkled because it's been on the ground. So I find my letter, I drop it off, and lo and behold, Christmas morning, I get the roller skates I wanted. And I'm like, haha, sucks to be you, Fred. And I think the funniest part about this is that I think maybe 2 days before Christmas, I went, I'm bored keeping this secret, I'm just going to tell you anyway, because I'm that confident. And so I think I told my parents before Christmas that I wanted roller skates anyway. And I'm sure my mom was just losing her mind. But yes, that is my favorite Christmas story. And it just, every time I tell it, it gets funnier to me. Because I can imagine my mom trying so hard not to, like, let me down and prove that I'm right. And I'm sure, like, if one of my friends had told me this and not this asshole, she would have been like, well, maybe it's time we had the talk. But at that point, I hadn't guessed at all. And I don't think my parents ended up telling us until I was maybe 11 or 12. Which, again, I have a younger sister, so I basically figured it out, and then I did not say a word. Anyway, moral of the story, don't listen to someone named Fred, and, you know, keep whimsy in your heart. Embrace the whimsy in your life, because it gives you a good story to tell later on. So, that's it. That's the story. I hope you guys are having a good holiday season. I hope if you're doing finals right now, if you're in high school or college, you're powering it through, you're locking in. God knows I am. Let me know what you're working on in the comments if you have a crochet or a knitting project. Even, you know, if you were doing something different like cooking or packing while watching this video, let me know how it's going. Hope it's going well. And yeah, if you have any fun Christmas stories, feel free to share them in the comments. It's my big one. Let me know what your favorite way to make a hat is. Other than that, I have a big video coming out next week that I am really behind recording for, so stick around for that. And I hope you guys are staying warm if you're living in a cold area. You can follow me on TikTok, you can follow me on Fable, and I post here every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. So please subscribe, like this video, let me know what you want to see more of. I don't get many comments, so if you comment, trust I'm gonna see it, I'm gonna read it. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.